Hi there. I remember to smile. Happy Wednesday at almost 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So, time for a little chat. Why is it time for a chat? Geez, it's been an interesting couple of days, hasn't it? And I got to tell you, I was quite pleased that Mark Carney got in. Quite pleased. And I was pleased that when I did that video, 3 weeks ago, that I was correct. I picked up on the energies. And I was also correct when I was picking up on the energies of Poilievre, feeling like he wasn't going to get in. He might have a minority, but it was really, the energy was really heavy. I didn't know what to make of it. So now I do. He's lost his seat in his riding, and he has to find a seat somewhere if he's going to be leader of the opposition. And he lost his seat. His supporters were like, oh, something's wrong. He lost the seat. How is that possible? And I'll tell you how it's possible, because this is really important for everyone to remember. The gentleman that won that seat, who's a Liberal, Bruce Fanjoy. Don't you love that name? Fanjoy. Bruce spent almost 2 years door knocking and getting to know the people in that riding. Almost 2 years. Rain, snow, sleet, whatever, wind. He was out there. He was working hard, getting to know everyone in that riding. And it paid off for him. He won by a big margin, I think by almost 5,000 votes. So that's no small thing. So why is this important? It shows that when you focus upon what you focus upon grows. And Bruce focused on that. And Poilievre took his eye off the prize, and he didn't come in till once near the end. Like he has been ignoring his riding, totally ignoring it to his detriment. So Bruce got it. Yay, Bruce. In my community, the gentleman I phone banked for, Ernie Clayson, he also won and unseated the Conservative Carrie Lynn Finley, who's been in this area forever, and so he worked hard, and he was in at the last flipping minute doing this, and people showed up for him. Now, he was a councillor in White Rock, and the White Rock City Council. So people already knew he was a businessman, had a flower store. So he was known. But people were ready for a change because Carrie Lynn had kind of been skating on a keister. Is that a term? Anyway, she also did very little that I could see, that I was aware of, which is interesting. So everyone went to vote. Rather, a lot of people voted, and there were some surprises. And so a lot of things are going on, including that a lot of young men were voting Conservative. And I was thinking about that because the waiter, my husband and I went out for dinner, first time in forever, it feels like. And the waiter voted for the first time, which means he's just turned 18, I guess. And he was talking about how he'd done his homework for the last 3 years. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And so I didn't ask who he voted for, but the conversation kind of had me thinking that he voted Conservative because he talked about not being able to buy a home. And I'm thinking to myself, you're 18. Well, I didn't think that initially at first because I wasn't connecting the dots. But when I went for a walk, that's when I do my best thinking. I was connecting the dots. I thought, he's 18. What's he talking about buying a house? He's got loads of time. And then I started thinking about what is this story that these young men have been told when they go down this rabbit hole with all these older conservative, and not older, young enough they paid attention to by these young men. And they tell them that, I will help you buy a home. You can't get a home right now under the Liberal government. I will help you get a home on a safe street, yada, yada, yada. And fair enough, but I'm really not talking about Poilievre. I'm talking about the other podcasters out there who are feeding on these young men's fears. And so I'm thinking how different young men can be. I'm thinking, for one, that we should make our children financially literate. And I think that should be taught in the schools, much like everything else is taught. That should be taught from the get-go. Because I wasn't, even though my dad was financial literate, didn't really manage to make an impression on me. And looking back, I can see how he might have done it differently. I, of course, did not do the same with both my sons, 10 years apart. I was just getting the hang of it with my youngest. And it's only in the last 15 years, I guess. So I've always been thrifty. I've not been a spendthrift. But I've never made a lot of money. And then my husband made a lot of money. And I thought of it like his money and didn't feel like I have had a big say in how the bulk of it was spent. I spent money, but I didn't do the big ticket items, and I didn't feel like I had a voice. And this is just childhood stuff. This is just a childhood stuff. And then I got involved with a group, and I heard this thing, just put 10% of your money away. And I started doing that. And because my husband was making good money, there was a fair amount of money getting put away every month. And then I started doing more than 10%. And I didn't tell him, I just did it. Until a point that I showed him, and he was like, what? Because he never wanted to save money. And that was his childhood stuff. So you see how it goes if you're not financially literate. So I looked and I went, well, okay, if you saved $100 a month and you just had it in a savings account at 2%, in 15 years, you would have almost $40,000. That's just $100 a month. Well, what if you put that into an RESP? What if you invested in stocks? I mean, when you're 18, you got that's the prime time to start this stuff. I feel like going back and having a talk with this young man. This is the prime time to start stuff because you got time on your side, something that a lot of people don't have. Time on your side to have that money work for you. And you get to choose how quickly you want it to grow by how much you want to save, how little you spend, how you spend your money. I mean, there's so many factions to this, so many variables, and they should feel empowered to be creating their life in really wonderful ways. And yet they aren't, because they're not being empowered in that way. So there's a message. There's a message to give our young people to empower them. And it's not too late to start. It really, really is not too late to start, as I proved when I started doing it and didn't tell my husband. And he'd be like, well, why can't I afford to get a new car? I go, you can't. Meanwhile, I was just paying down debt as quickly as I could and still saving money. And because I was just wanted to be in that position. And now he's very grateful that I did that. He's very appreciative of the fact that I did that. And then once in a while, I kind of throw him a crumb. Like, okay, well, let's get a new quartz countertop for the kitchen. And that made him feel good. So it was those things, because he worked hard and he wanted to, see something for it. As we all do, right? Especially when you think that certain measures are measures of success in life. And that's not always true. We've been sold a bill of goods frequently, in that we don't stop and question, what are these markers for success? Are they important? Are they personally important to you? Or are you being told they should be important? For instance, home ownership seems to be a big deal in Canada and the States, and yet in Europe, not everyone owns their home. A lot of people rent. In New York City, a lot of people rent. They don't own. It's not a big deal. And there has been financial planners that have said, you know what, if you're renting, you can put money aside and still come out ahead, have more money than if you'd owned a home. And I don't know all the ins and outs. I guess I could Google it. You should Google it and ask the right question and see all the different ways that life is so wonderful. Anyway, so here we are in a new day with Prime Minister Carney, with his he was dancing at Down with Webster, which I'd never heard. It was a band that he and his wife, saw him in an interview, he and his wife were in a club that had gone to see a specific group, and then Down with Webster came on after that, and they stayed and listened, and I never, it's a rap kind of music. I'm like, okay, but there he is, like boom, boom, boom. And there's his wife, boom, boom, boom. It's like, it's cool. And I think it's cool. Some young people don't. That's all. They're small-minded people. This is a man with a sense of humor, a sense of responsibility, a sense of humility. And he's ready. He's ready. Like, he's so ready to do this for us. And we're lucky to have him. And I don't for a minute think it's strictly for Canada. He's ready to show that he has this in him as well, or else he wouldn't be doing it. He didn't think he could do this, he wouldn't be doing it. So, on that note, as we've been talking, so, anyone wants me to pull a card for you, let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, this gorgeous sunny day in White Rock, stellar sunny day again. Can't complain about life. Not worth it. No one listens anyway. Though I've had my moments, like I said to my husband last night, I said, I think I've got election hangover. I spent probably 25 minutes deleting all my election posts on Facebook. 25 minutes. I'm like, I'm just getting this off my timeline. I'm doing a cleanse. I couldn't, I'm surprised at the vitriol out there. There is a divisiveness. My timeline on Facebook's pretty good. It's curated, and when people don't agree with me, they're very polite. And I accept their friends aren't always polite, but they are polite. But it gives you an idea of what's going on out there. You're like, oh my goodness, your guy didn't win. I'm sorry he didn't win. My guy won. I'm not rubbing it in your face. Well, if you're watching this, I'm not rubbing it in your face. My guy won. He worked hard for it, and I worked hard for him. And everyone that worked hard for every Liberal candidate, and some of them young people, they deserve the kudos for that. Because we have short elections, Canada, and you've got to hit the ground running. And many of them did, and they did really well. And then others got in again. Chrystia Freeland got in again. Mark Gertston in Kingston got in again. Sean Fraser in, I think he's Nova Scotia, got in again. Karina Gould in Burlington got in again. I would imagine that these are all people that are in touch with their riding, paying attention to what's going on in their riding. So pay attention to what's going on in your life. And what do you want to grow? What do you want to grow? How do you want to contribute to your family, to your community, to Canada? Because it's all part of it, right? Okay. So, meanwhile, south of us, I think he's going a little cuckoo. I really do. I think he's going a little cuckoo. So, okay. So, they want me to pull a card on that. I wouldn't have. I was going with Carney. Maybe even touched on Poilievre, who's I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't have a seat, and he has to have a seat, and that means he has to get someone to give up his seat. And what does he offer him to give up his seat? And $150,000, $200,000 salary as an MP. Like, that's a big ask. And so what does he have to sell? What part of himself does he have to sell to have that happen? Or is his Conservative Party going to go, hey, you didn't pull this off. I don't care how much you grew it. You didn't pull this off. We can't count on you. Or we're going to get another leader. I don't know. Is that a possibility? So what am I pulling? Oh, pulling first for Poilievre. There you go. Thanks, guys. Laugh at your demons. And see, there's the eye and spears, and they're eating themselves. The demons, the eye, the third eye, the eye that looks upon the world. And I'm hearing that Poilievre has his demons. We all have our demons, right? And he's, oh, thank you. He's not paying attention to them. Are we surprised? He's not paying attention to his demons, his dark side. He's not paying attention to it, and he can't heal it. And if you're not paying attention, then you can't heal it, and you're just bluffing, I'm hearing, and blundering your way through life. He's bluffing his way through life. I'm hearing this is still this little nerdy little kid that didn't feel like he fit in, didn't have anything important to offer until he found his spot in politics. And for whatever, he's just got, give him credit, he's got a nose for it. He's got a oomph because he wants it so bad. But his demons are driving this. And even more, particularly now, because it was so close and he didn't get it. Now, he was very gracious in his speech, thanking all the party leaders, very gracious when he conceded to Carney, which seemed a little odd, almost like it was planned. I don't know. And I'm hearing it was planned. It was planned. He needed to do it that way, because otherwise he would have been seen as a poor loser. And he's still got stuff up. He's still got something up his sleeve. He's not played all his cards. He's not holding a card. He's not played all his cards yet, because the demon's laughing at him. He's laughing at his demons. Okay. Oh, Carney. Let's send some prayers to Carney and his family to have some ease in this transition and what's next in his life, and so that he can heal from this loss that was almost a win. Carney didn't get the majority, but he got pretty darn close, and that's all that counts. When you cross the finish line, you cross the finish line. He crossed the finish line. So what we have in Canada is a number, when I heard Carney being interviewed, and he talked about, not talking about politics in Canada, but talking about Trump and the negotiation stuff, and he said it's about creating a win-win situation, and that's a term I came up with when I did a reading those 3 weeks ago. Was like he wants to create win-win situations, and so he will do that in Canada. And Poilievre, who laughs at his demons with, he should be paying attention to that, has an opportunity to work with Carney and create a win-win for Canada, and prove to Canadians that he's serious about Canada. Because truly, everything that he was campaigning on were all kind of liberal platforms in many ways, and there was not a big divide. There may have been a big divide on policing, jail terms, all that kind of stuff. But that's all, that can all be negotiated. That, that kind of stuff. And that, a lot of that's provincial. People forget that a lot of this is provincial, and there's not much to be done at a federal level. So, I'm hearing hang in there. It's going to be a rocky ride, just for a little bit, and then it's going to be a fun ride. Then it's going to be wonderful. Right now, we're in a bit of a honeymoon period, and Carney will make some mistakes. He's new at this political game. He really, and he's going to have to count on others to counsel him on how best to navigate what's going on. So, I'm going to set that aside. I'm hearing set that aside. And pull a card for Trump. Okay. Trust the divine plan. Can you see that? I'm horrible. Trust the divine plan. So, the sun and the moon, the day and the night, it's all divine timing. And Carney had called Trump a, what was the term he used? And it sounded like a compliment, but what it was actual, and Trump took it as a compliment, but Carney meant it literally. And that was he called him a transformative president. And Trump was like, oh, yeah, I am a transformative president. But Carney didn't mean it that way. Carney was telling the truth. Trump has become a transformative president as he's tearing stuff down, as he's thrown, literally taken the deck of cards that is the U.S. of A., the world leader, that statue in New York City, with the light. He's just taken the cards and literally gone like this, throwing them up. And now the whole world's like, well, can't count on you. So we are to trust the plan, because the plan is not for one not for one country to have that much power. It's too much power, as been proven by Trump. Too much power. He's full of himself. And so the rest of the world is like, well, okay, then what are we going to do? And they're stepping back and going, okay, what do we do about that for us, for our country, for our stability? We can't count on the U.S. anymore. And so other currencies will become stronger. The U.S. dollar will not be the dollar that everyone wants and trades. The other countries may start trading using it'll all just sort itself out in really incredible ways. Really incredible, transformative ways. Yeah. And I'm feeling a big smile behind me as I'm saying this. Yes, the world is transforming. And Trump's a transformative president. And Carney is a transformative prime minister. And Poilievre is playing his part too. Everyone is playing their part. So we are to trust the divine plan. Stop railing against it. Stop ranting against it. Pay attention in your life. Pay attention to your light. The thing that lights, that makes you you. Pay attention to that. Grow that. And be the best you can be. And then everything will just kind of fall into place. Because as I heard in a movie the other night, small minds live in small worlds. So don't have a small mind and don't live, because you'll live in a small world. The world's much bigger than what you know. Some of you already know this. And for some, this is just a reminder. And maybe it's something you can pass on. Just say as a side to a friend, small minds create small worlds. So we want big minds. broad minds. Have faith. Okay. Choop, boom, boop. Have faith. The last card. Divine plan. Have a faith. Have faith. Have faith. Gotta have faith. Da-da-da. Gotta have faith. And on that note, I'm going to say so long, goodbye. Have faith, trust in the divine plan. Know it's all going to be wonderful. And it's hard to be like that when not everyone's feeling like that. I get it. My husband during election night was like, and I'm like, it's all going to be fine. And me getting upset's not going to change the outcome. But we want him to I said, just let it play out. We don't know what that looks like. So it played out. Carney's in. He almost has a majority. And if any recounts are going on, which I haven't been able to find out, he could have a majority. He could, and that would be super cool. Meanwhile, he's got a lot of seats, and Canada has the ability, because we're not a two-party system. We have the Bloc with 23 seats. NDP, unfortunately, is down to 7. Jameek Singh, thank you for the dental care and the farmer care and the $10 a day child care. Thank you, Jameek. You know, you resigned from your seat because you lost your riding, and you resigned, and you have a young family, and you left a legacy. You left a legacy. NDP may have lost seats, and I think you knew that was going to happen because we needed the Liberals in there. So sacrifice in some ways, and now you get to go and have a wonderful life with your young kids. So I guess I needed to say that too. So long, farewell on this Wednesday. Take care of yourselves, and we'll chat again. I'm shutting down. Bye.